Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the 2023 State of the Wicomico County Public Schools. This is an annual event. We're so pleased to have everybody with us, the business community, nonprofit community, and organizational leaders, Greater Salisbury Committee, the Education Foundation, and the numerous business partnerships. Supporting public education is a key economic driver for any jurisdiction. You've heard me say this for years. More important now than ever, with inflation being what it is, city and county budgets being strained, investing in public education, and again, it's investing, not spending, is more critical now than ever. I have a few more remarks to make, but before I get to those, would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. So I'm Bill Chambers, President and CEO of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. An event like this wouldn't be possible without a couple of key sponsors that stepped up right from the beginning. Several years ago, First Shore Federal Bank stepped up as our first sponsor, and I appreciate that. I want to thank the team at First Shore Federal, and I want to thank Comcast, Chris Comer and his team. Also have a round of applause for Comcast. We have some table sponsors today. I'd like to thank Salisbury University, the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, and the Wicomico County Public Schools. And thanks to, who you will hear soon, Superintendent Micah Stoffer and his executive team. We're looking forward to today's presentation. A few upcoming events. I have to plug a few upcoming events. May 4th is May Business After Hours. It's a week early this year because we'll be at the Shorebirds. They'll be taking on the Carolina Mudcats. I've never seen a mudcat, but if you come May 4th, you'll be able to see 9 of them. That's 5 p.m. We're going to have ballpark fare, some adult beverages, so sign up for that. If you're a chamber member, do that on our website. May 18th, our membership lunch will be with Kelly Schultz. You all know Kelly. She was a Republican candidate for governor, also led the Maryland Commerce Department. She's now the CEO of the Maryland Tech Council. That'll be at Green Hill Country Club at 11:30 a.m. on May 18th. And our annual Taste of the Town at Dove Point, that's June 1st, 5 p.m. We'll have a ton of shore restaurants there offering samples of some of their key menu items, and we'll have a bar set up. It's a lot of fun. It's a great community event. We have a few special guests I'd like to introduce. I'm going to let Gene Malone introduce Dr. Stoffer and his team, including the Board of Education members. But I want to thank Senator Mary Beth Carrozza for being here. Thank you, Senator. Wicomico County Executive Julie Giordano. Julie. Wicomico County Council President John Cannon. John. Member of the Wicomico County Council, Jeff Merritt. Director of Administration for Wicomico County, Bunky Luffman. Bunky. Wicomico County Council Administrator, Laura Hurley. Laura's here? Yep. Our great President, CEO of the United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore, Pam Gregory. I know Pam's here. President of the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, Erica Joseph. I know Dr. Carolyn LaPrey from SU was supposed to be here, but I don't see her, but she was supposed to be here. And I know Mary Ashanti with the Wicomico chapter of the NAACP was supposed to be here as well. I don't see Mary yet. I want a special thank you to a man who has shaped what is our great community college, Warwick. For some reason, he's retiring. He hasn't given anyone a good reason why. Maybe he's given his wife a good reason why. But we want to thank and welcome Dr. Ray Hoy. Quickly, I want to introduce our board chair, Greg Riddell, to bring greetings from the Chamber Board of Directors.
At the risk of redundancy to the start of Bill's introduction there, I think since Henry Ford first famously said that he was going to pay his employees more so that they could afford to buy his cars, there's been a synergy business has recognized between a creative, innovative, bright workforce and success in business. And I would suggest that it goes well beyond success in business. It's about a successful society. So thank you on behalf of the Board of Directors for everyone's attendance today and for your engagement in learning about the state of the schools for Wicomico County and being here every year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Now enjoy lunch. A member of the Civic Center team will be around to call you up by table, and then we'll begin our program after lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Good afternoon. So I'm wearing two hats today. I'm wearing my First Shore Federal hat, which is my real day job, and then my second day job is chairman of the Wicomico County School Board. So let me first thank everyone for attending. This is going to be a great afternoon to get a real preview and purview on the schools and the state of schools by Dr. Stauffer. First, let me recognize my colleagues from First Shore Federal. We have Rich Ashley here, who's Vice President and CFO. He's the one that makes sure I get paid every week. And Sharon Morris, who's our CRA officer. Thank you for being here. And then our Wicomico County Board of Education table seated over here. Vice Chairman, Mr. Alan Brown. Board Member, Mr. John Palmer. Board Member, Dr. Bonnie Ennis. Board Member, David Plotz. Board Member, Kristen Hazel. And Board Member Susan Beecham. All 7 of us are in attendance today, which is wonderful. So First Shore Federal is proud to be the sponsor of the Superintendent's State of the Schools presentation, which we began sponsoring in 2018. First Shore Federal is entering its 70th year as a local financial institution. Our association is one of the strongest financial institutions on the shore based upon our over 15% net worth to capital ratio. We also, once again in 2022, earned a 5-star rating, the highest rating awarded for the financial institutions from Bauer Financial, a leading independent bank rating and research firm. Our association okay, I'll take that. Yep. Thank you. Our association continues to be recognized as a leading community citizen. We use an ad theme of community-minded, just like you. Led by our CEO, Diane Turner's example, our staff lives that theme every day. Many of our directors, officers, and employees are involved in community organizations as volunteers and in many cases in leadership roles. Today's sponsorship is an example of our support for education in this great community. So now to the state of the schools in Wicomico County. Our presenter today will be our superintendent, Dr. Micah Stauffer. Dr. Micah Stauffer was named the Wicomico Superintendent of Schools effective July 1, 2022. Dr. Stauffer served as the school system's Chief Finance and Operations Officer since 2019, leading the Division of Business and Operations. He was originally hired by Wicomico Public Schools in 1996 as a substitute teacher and then as a science teacher at Parkside High School. He was promoted to assistant principal, serving at Wicomico Middle and then Mardella Middle and High. He was then appointed as principal, serving at Mardella Middle and High and then Parkside High School. Dr. Stauffer also served as the Director of Secondary Education from 2014 through 2019. Dr. Stauffer is a 1991 graduate of Wicomico High School. He received his bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, his master's degree from Salisbury University, and earned his Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership, District Administration from Wilmington University. He and his wife Dana have one child currently attending James M. Bennett High School and one child who graduated from JMB and now attends West Point. I'd like to read a quote from Dr. Stauffer when he was first appointed as the new superintendent. If you've ever attended a board meeting, I like quotes, and so you just have to bear with me on this. I keep doing this. Our students in schools within Wicomico County are our community's most important resource. A great school system always has a great team behind it, and I am amazed by the team we have within Wicomico County Public Schools. For us to be our best, we have to ensure that we are all working together toward a common interest, which should always be the learning and success of our students. We have a fantastic school system, amazing students, wonderful families, dedicated staff, a vibrant community, and a great foundation to build from as we move forward. Let's work together to continue to make it better. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium our fine superintendent, Dr. Micah Stauffer.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here speaking with you this afternoon, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here, and a big thanks to the Salisbury Chamber of Commerce for providing this opportunity. I think the best place to begin is with the foundational statement of what our work is. The guiding statement for the work that we do within Wicomico County Public Schools goes back to the mission of our school system. This statement is what our leaders go back to plan and implement the work that it takes to accomplish our mission. And the people that are working hard each and every day to lead our school system are represented here and are also out in the audience today. You've already met our board members, and I'd like to take a moment to thank each one of them for our support and our guidance. I'd also like to thank the tremendous executive team that we have here today, our leadership team, our principals, our supervisors, teachers, and support staff that are behind me in the school system each and every day. And those of my senior leadership team that are pictured here. They are also in the audience today, and I'd like to recognize them. We have Mrs. Kim Miles, our Assistant Superintendent for Student and Family Services. We also have Dr. Rick Briggs, our Chief Academic Officer, and Dr. Brian Reger, our Chief Finance and Operations Officer. Each of them do an outstanding job leading the 3 divisions that make up our school system and in putting up with me each and every day. And speaking of putting up with me, I'd also like to thank Mrs. Andrea Dooling, who is a wonderful asset to my work and a wonderful person. She's the Executive Office Associate that keeps me straight. Thank you, Andrea. In addition, a big thank you to all of the elected officials, the community leaders, the business leaders, the faith-based partners, and so many other friends of education that are out here in the audience today. We could not do what we do without your support, and that support does mean a lot to each and every one of us. So give yourself a round of applause today. So let's start with a little bit about Wicomico County Public Schools. We have 14,961 students broken down into the demographics that you see here. About 60% of our students come from families in poverty. We have a little over 1,600 students that are English language learners in our school system. That's about 11%. 10% of our students receive special education services. And in addition, 65% of our population are considered at risk, as they are either living in poverty, receiving special education services, or learning English as a second language. This percentage has grown significantly in the last 10 years. Also, a little bit about mobility rate that is not up here. Mobility rate is the rate that determines how many students are coming into and out of our school system, or transferring in or leaving or transferring schools. We're the second highest mobility rate in the state, just behind Baltimore City. Almost 25% of our students are moving in and out of our school system each and every year. So here you can see our enrollment trend. We've already grown by 61 more students since the fall enrollment count, and you can see while we took a dip during COVID, our enrollment numbers have bounced back. And this is a breakdown of our schools and programs. We have 29 schools and programs, from our Birth to 5 program to all of our high schools, an alternative learning program, evening high school, CTE Center, and a virtual learning program. Just last year's graduating class earned $26.8 million in scholarships to 286 universities, including just about every Ivy League college and service academy. And if you haven't seen the sign when you came in, I would encourage you to stop by and look at that on your way out today. It's very impressive. Thank you. In addition, this year we had 36 students qualify for the Maryland CTE Skills USA competition, with 5 earning spots in the national competition. We have also yet again been named a Best Community for Music Education for our visual and performing arts programs, a record 13 of the last 16 years. And in this slide you can see some data about our staff. We have 3,413 total employees that include support staff, contractual employees, substitutes, and bus drivers. 2,508 full-time employees, and of that number we have 1,388 classroom teachers. And currently our retention rate this year is at 93%. Last year we ended the year at 84%, so we're hopeful to be able to top that this year. Also, I compared this with our student demographics that I noted earlier. And here you can see the significant difference between our students and the teacher demographics. I think it's also important to note the demographics of our instructional assistants working alongside our teachers. And I'll be bringing this back up later. Other key pieces of information can be found on this slide. I won't hit every piece of data on this slide, but I think it's important to note that school administrators, school instructional leadership teams, made up of our teachers and central office staff, look closely at graduation rate, kindergarten readiness assessment data, student attendance, college and career readiness scores, our benchmarks aligned with the state assessments, and data like the SAT. These are key indicators of how our students are performing, key indicators of how we're exceeding and where we need to improve. We are data-driven within our school system, and we look at this each and every day, looking at what we need to do better, what our path forward needs to be, and where we need to go. While we have room to grow, and it's clear that COVID had a big impact on student achievement as you look at these charts, I'm encouraged by the significant increases that we're seeing with our graduation rate, our SAT performance, which we give to every 11th grade student in the county, and even the way our kindergarten readiness score is bouncing back after COVID, in large part, I believe, due to the community effort and the vision of my predecessor, Dr. Donna Hanlon, to expand pre-K in our schools, as well as our amazing early childhood staff. So before you chart a course for the future, you have to have a good understanding of where you currently are. Data pieces like the ones that you see on this slide help with that. It's also important to know what you can afford. So this slide shows the 3 funding sources for Wicomico County Public Schools. The state funding is in red, local funding is in blue, and federal, which comes in the form of mostly grant funding, is in green. Locally, there was a significant dip in funding starting in 2009, but you can see that is gradually coming back up, with the largest single increase proposed to come this next year in local funding. This slide is a closer representation of that local funding. And I want to take a moment to thank our county executive, Mrs. Julie Giordano, publicly for the proposed budget that she submitted to the county council last Tuesday. Thank you.
I think technically you're still my boss, so you're still politically, so yeah.
For the second time in 15 years, a budget has been submitted that will provide a reoccurring increase to the school system that is over the state required maintenance of effort. You can see that proposed increase here. One-time funding was provided by the county in 2013, 2014, 2020, and this year in 2023, and we are thankful for that as well, thanks to our county council. You can see in 2024, we are hoping to receive this type of reoccurring funding will help us to enable record inflation. It will help us to be able to accommodate for that record inflation and make it possible to bring in 5 additional school resource officers. So this funding will make a difference for the safety of our students and our staff and in our schools. So thank you very much. When we're looking at where WCPS is headed in the future and what our priorities need to be, it's important to note all of the things that we have to consider in setting the direction that our school system needs to go in. One thing that we know is influencing much of the work in all school systems across the state is the blueprint for Maryland's future. This legislation is broken down into 5 key areas: investing in early childhood education, creating a world-class instructional system with enhanced college and career readiness opportunities and CTE opportunities, elevating the teaching profession, including the recruiting and retaining of the best teachers and the best leaders, and providing more resources to the students that need them the most, which encompasses our at-risk population, and creating a strong accountability system where our community can be involved in that process. In addition, we have already begun to provide a network of support for our at-risk students. Our special education team is working hard to provide our students with the supports that they need to be successful. And I also want to give special recognition to Bonnie Walston. After more than 38 years in Wicomico as an educator and director for special education, she will be retiring at the end of June. So Bonnie, you will be so missed. Thank you. We are very proud of all that has been accomplished, and you should be as well. Thank you. Dr. Rick Briggs, our Chief Academic Officer and also our Blueprint Coordinator, and his amazing team of work group chairs recently submitted our 192-page blueprint plan to the state. We have already received positive feedback on that submission, and at this point, these areas shown on the slide, they are happening. We are seeing a difference in what we're accomplishing, and it's only going to strengthen in the years to come. Another important area to consider when looking at our future is the success that we are currently experiencing and that we can build from as we move forward. For instance, our amazing students, like Jeffrey Shaw from Bennett Middle School, represented not only Bennett Middle School, but the entire Eastern Shore in the National Spelling Bee. Or 2 Skills USA students from our CTE program, Jonathan Lombardo and Andrew King, placing in the top 10 in the entire nation in their skill area. Marin Thomas, a senior from James M. Bennett, being selected in a very competitive selection process to represent almost 1 million Maryland students as the student member on the State Board of Education. We also have Carson Scholars, a book author already selling books on Amazon at the age of 16. Numerous AP scholars, for instance, Rosie took 13 AP exams, scoring the highest possible score, which is a 5, on 10 of them. An award-winning marching band, the Parkside Rams at the Maryland State Championships, and Maryland gold medal winners for unified sports, where our special education students combine with general education students to compete together as a team in athletic competition. There are so many others to celebrate: 5 all-state musicians, 4 College Board national recognition recipients, a basketball coach by the name of Butch Waller that has amassed more than 900 wins in his career and is the most winningest coach in Maryland Public Schools history. Melinda Damaris, the 2022 National Braille Institute Teacher of the Year. For the past 3 years, Wicomico has had a finalist for the Maryland Teacher of the Year. Tara Martens was recently named the 2023-2024 Wicomico Teacher of the Year and will represent all of Wicomico teachers at the state level this coming year, and she's from West Salisbury Elementary. These are just a few examples of the many celebrations that we have in our school system. Successes that we can build from, and that point to the impact that our instructional programs and our teachers and our staff are having each and every day. I also want to hear from some additional celebrations that are coming from our students and what they like about our school system.
I'm Kara Kaney, and I love the Next Gen program here at Salisbury Middle School because it takes an innovative approach at learning to bring in real-world issues into the classroom. Then we're taught algorithms that could help us solve these issues.
Hi, my name is Ariana Brumley. I'm part of the Health Occupations program here at Parkside High School. I love this program. It gives us so many opportunities.
Hi, I'm London, and what I most enjoy about TAD is that along with our regular lessons, we learn things about that's happening in the real world with editorial cartoons, and I love that.
My name is Taejun, and I love the interactive media program at Y-High.
My name is Kara, and I love being in the band at Bennett High because of the vibrant community. It's truly amazing to be able to work with and meet 50 to 60 other people and all working towards the same difficult common goal and really becoming friends with them and working together.
I'm Stella Brahowski in the Criminal Justice CTE program, and I like this program because it has given me an idea of what I want my future career to be.
I love playing sports in Marnella basically just because of the culture and the traditions that each team definitely holds. The positive mindset that all of us athletes do have is definitely something that everyone looks up to and everyone wants to be a part of it.
Hello, my name is Mustafa, and I would like to tell you what I really like about TAD. What I really like about TAD is that we learn about jobs that we may want to pursue in life.
My name is Glennie Beathers. I'm in the carpentry program, and I chose it because I wanted to be an architect, and I wanted to be able to expand my knowledge on carpentry in order to understand plans better.
My name is Nate, and I love the interactive media at Y.
Being here actually truly does feel like we're laying the blueprints for next generation.
And that's the most favorite part of my job. I get to be around all of that every single day. So when setting a path forward, along with the areas that you can build from to enhance your success, it's also important to note the challenges that we are experiencing, the areas that we need to improve upon or change, the barriers that we are facing as a school system and as a community. The first is poverty. I've already shared the percentage of our students living in poverty, but keep in mind that 11% of the 15,000 students that we have are learning English as a second language. And even though 60% of our students are presenting as free and reduced meal students living below the federal poverty line, we believe that a number of our students and families do not complete required documentation to count in that percentage for us to be able to obtain that funding. And this is a concern across our state as well. So using census data, the state is now looking at another indicator of poverty called the Neighborhood Poverty Index, where the socioeconomic groups within a given region are broken down into 5 tiers. The idea of this essentially is that there are different levels of poverty, not just below one line, but a number of levels, or tiers as they call it, where households in poverty are surrounded by other households of poverty in a neighborhood, and that the effects of this poverty is significantly greater among students. Here you can see a map of Maryland with the highest tier of poverty in red and orange, and those not in poverty in dark green and green, and then the variants of yellow in between. If we zoom in and look at Wicomico County, you can see 70% of our households within Wicomico County are in the highest poverty tiers, 4 or 5 or red or orange. And this is important because neighborhood poverty is the extent to which an individual household does without and is surrounded by more of the same. Research tells us that in neighborhoods where there is a concentration of poverty like we see here, children are less likely to have access to positive social networks, more likely to be exposed to violence at very young ages, have inferior access to public services, and ultimately much more likely to struggle in school, present as a behavior problem, and ultimately drop out. So I think this map speaks for itself. The next challenge is the high percentage of our population that is at risk. We are seeing a significant increase in the diversity and the intensity within our special education population. But we are meeting those challenges many times from birth to the time they exit the public school system at the age of 21. For example, in our Birth to 5 program and later under special education, we receive referrals from birth from local and regional hospitals as well as pediatricians. We begin supporting those families right away, providing services to our babies and toddlers and their caregiver in their home and in their child care centers. And as the toddlers advance, we prepare them for preschool opportunities and provide pre-K prep classes on literacy and numeracy skills. A pre-K model classroom is set up so toddlers can become familiar with how to do school. And parents are also taught during this time about appropriate schedules, routines, appropriate play, social norms, and setting limits. Specially designed instruction is provided for eligible special education students that includes speech therapy, assistive technology, communication skills, as well as help meet their social and behavioral needs. WCPS continues to provide special education students with support until they earn a diploma or a certificate of completion. And we partner with Warwick to provide life-centered and specific skills training for those students between the ages of 18 and 21 that are developmentally delayed. We also work with families to connect these students to agencies that will support them after they exit school so that they are prepared to live independently to the maximum extent possible. We are seeing the needs in our community continually to and significantly increase each and every year. Another challenge we are facing is student discipline. With about 15,000 students, we have seen so far about 21,000 office referrals this year. A little over 4,000 students have been referred to the office at least one time, and we've had almost 2,000 out-of-school suspensions. In addition, if you look at our behavior-related office referrals, you can see that more than half of these referrals that are behavior-related are coming from the 3 grades that we all know and love as middle school. Another challenge is diminishing community resources in our community and in our area. This is an example of what I mean. This map is one example as it relates just to special education. Each of these red dots represent a non-public school for high needs special education students across Maryland. There are 70 schools of this nature in the state of Maryland, 1 on the Eastern Shore and none on the Lower Eastern Shore. When we don't have the resources in the community that we need, we have the responsibility of doing our best to meet those needs in our schools. The last challenge I wanted to highlight today is the local crime. We've seen over the last just 2 weeks the toll that this takes on a community. What happens in our school makes its way into what happens in our community makes its way into our schools. Research shows that local neighborhood crime has a significant impact on the effectiveness of a school's educational programs and also has a direct impact on student attendance, student behavior, and ultimately their achievement in school. So this past July, I started my new journey as superintendent by publishing an entry plan, and that plan contained my introduction to the community. 10 leadership values that I believe are important to guide the work we do and 2 phases of entry for this year. The first phase was about engaging with the community to share about our school system, but more importantly, to receive feedback and input from all of our stakeholders. This phase included talking with students, staff, parents, community members, business leaders, elected officials, faith-based partners, and many others. In all, I received responses from hundreds of people that included over 1,000 different pieces of data. Listed here are the most common reoccurring themes contained within all of those responses that we received. Concerns about school safety, the need for a better and more positive school climate, the importance of consistent and effective leadership, both in central office and in our schools, the growing need for additional mental health support for not only our students, but our staff, making sure that what is done we do with our stakeholders and not to our stakeholders, looking forward and anticipating where we need to go and having a mindset of the beginning with the end, expanding learning opportunities for our students and providing them with more options so that they can succeed, ensuring that we remember the only way to do great work is to love what you do, and that encouragement and value are key ingredients to making that happen each day. And the stronger our parents and community are engaged with us, the more that we can accomplish as a team. And using the many celebrations that we do have as a foundation to build from as we look to improve. So here are just some examples of the feedback that we received from those community engagement presentations, staff meetings, and the many survey responses that we received. For example, give kids more opportunities to be engaged outside of the classroom. If they had sports teams or clubs that they were dedicated to, I feel like it would help behavior in school. Another example, raise the floor for disadvantaged families and non-English speakers, and continue to improve opportunities for our best and brightest and increase the breadth of the CTE program. So the second phase of my entry included a review of all of this information and the development of a plan on how we can move forward in Wicomico County Public Schools. And I have to stress, this was a team effort, and an effort from so many amazing staff members, so I thank them today for those that are here and the many that are at central office in our schools that have all been a part of this plan. So from the input that was provided and the review it took of everything that has been presented, and today this State of the Schools report concludes that phase and begins the work that we have ahead of us as a school district and a community. So in learning about who we are as a school system, what the data points to as our current reality, the many celebrations that indicate what is going well, the challenges that we have and the barriers that exist, and the input and feedback that we have received by engaging with our stakeholders, we can outline the priorities that we need to establish and the path forward that we need to take. So from everything that we have heard and received, the 5 priorities of school climate and safety, student achievement, additional opportunities for student engagement, recruiting and retaining a high-performing workforce, and engaging with parents and the community are the 5 priorities that we need to focus on as a school system to make the improvements that we want to see and achieve the success that we need to see. School climate and safety. We have begun the process of adding additional security measures to our schools and our school properties. Thanks to the support of the County Council and the one-time funding that they provided in this year's budget, we are already upgrading security cameras and security systems. We are procuring security film for our storefront access points. We are completing the process of fully fencing in all school properties. And through training and corrective action, we are ensuring that the resources that we do have in place are being utilized effectively. Additional school resource officers. This year we have requested 5 additional school resource officers from the Sheriff's Department, and the funding over maintenance of effort that our county executive has put in her proposed budget will in part fund these positions. Our hope is that these officers will be in place at some point this coming year, and that our schools will be safer, and that our students and staff will be the benefit of that new resource. Additional campus patrol. Our Board of Education has approved a budget that includes a request for 5 additional campus patrol staff. We currently have 10 campus patrol positions in our secondary schools now, and these staff with radio communication work alongside our school resource officers to make sure that our hallways are clear, that students are in class, our exterior doors are secure, and to escort students to and from class when needed. They have proven to be extremely useful, and we believe that continuing to grow the number of campus patrol staff we have will continue to help ensure that our school climate is as positive as possible. Renewed focus on classroom management. We will take a renewed focus on classroom management and staff-student interactions. As you can imagine, COVID was an enormous gap in how to do school and the structure that we know our students benefit from. It's important to go back to the basics within our classrooms to ensure that routines are in place, that appropriate expectations for student behavior does exist, and that our teachers are building relationships with the students and families that they serve. And we plan to work with our administrators to ensure that restorative practices and trauma-informed practices that teach basic life skills and character-building traits is prevalent in what we do. Additional layers of support. We plan to put additional layers of support in place to provide learning environments that will meet the needs of our students. Traditional environments don't always meet the unique needs that we have. 20 years ago, just in special education, we had so many community agencies that supported our school system, from the Holly Center to Chesapeake Youth Center, Eastern Shore Psychological, a Maple Shade residential program, and the list goes on. And these agencies have now all gone away or significantly diminished in the services that they provide. And those responsibilities now fall to the school system to pick up. And the needs of our students and our community have only increased since that time. Those layers of needs have all pushed into our schools. Adding more layers of support will better meet the needs that we are seeing in our student population. So we will be working to add additional programmatic support for our most intense special education students. In addition, we plan to add long-term in-school intervention programs in our schools for students that are struggling in a traditional classroom setting. And this pull-out setting will enable us to still provide identified students with instruction, but also provide them with additional behavior and mental health supports in a smaller classroom setting outside of the regular classroom. And for our youngest learners, we also have plans to add early intervention transition classrooms for students coming to us without the social skills and behavior management to succeed in a pre-K or kindergarten classroom with 15 other students. We can help teach students how to do school first in a smaller setting and then transition them into that larger setting. Additional mental health resources. We will continue to add to the mental health resources needed and are doing that by increasing the number of school social workers that we have in our schools. Just a little more than a handful of years ago, we went from 5 social workers to now well over 30 in our school system, and it's making a tremendous difference in what we're able to achieve in our schools. Each school now has at least 1 assigned social worker, and we are continuing to evaluate the areas of need to ensure our resources are distributed appropriately. And by continuing our MOUs with community mental health service providers to further support the well-being of our students, we are continuing to partner with multiple community therapists, providing time and space in our schools for these services so that they can support the needs that we have. And lastly, a revised code of conduct. We are taking steps in conjunction with our Board of Education members to strengthen areas within the code of conduct that our principals have identified as needs to address student behavior. Specifically, students that have repeated inappropriate behavior that disrupts our learning environment and takes time away from teachers to support all students in learning, as well as violent behavior that creates an unsafe environment for our students to learn in. While Maryland law dictates much of what our code of conduct currently is, we can take steps to ensure that our expectations are clearly communicated, that they are clearly enforced, and that violent and repeated unacceptable behavior is also clearly addressed. Let's go on to student achievement. Increased pre-K enrollment. How are we doing this? We are focusing our efforts on the pre-K 4 program and are currently at an enrollment of 716 students. But we are planning to convert 5 more pre-K 3-year-old classrooms next year to pre-K 4 classrooms, which will increase our pre-K enrollment to 870 students in pre-K 4. And our goal is to reach almost 1,000 pre-K students by school year 25-26. At the same time, we will still have pre-K because now we are partnering with private preschool providers out in the community to be able to enroll more pre-K 3 students so that they're still getting the structure and instruction that our youngest learners need. We have already seen an average increase of 4% in our kindergarten readiness assessment results, with some schools seeing over a 10% increase in just the last year. We know that students in pre-K programs are more ready for kindergarten, and we are seeing the results of those efforts. Strategies for reading success. We are now focusing on core reading instruction with our youngest learners that is based in phonics. In addition, numerous secondary students are participating in a reading intervention program to support students requiring targeted instruction to improve their reading. Weekly focused teacher meetings address research-based practices for teachers to implement in daily lessons, and teachers are using benchmark data to group students to scaffold instruction and provide that needed intervention. And this year, we're also using intervention strategies with our English language learners to support their needs as well. Each month, exemplary teacher lessons and strategies are shared across our district with other English teachers. Increasing our graduation rate. Our overall county graduation rate is now 85%, but our graduation rate for students involved in CTE is 98%. We are expanding CTE opportunities, fine arts programs, increasing participation in sports, as well as clubs and activities to connect more students to their school, which leads to higher student achievement and higher graduation rates. Block scheduling has added additional opportunities for struggling students to retake classes, and the flex time has added intervention opportunities embedded in the school day. And we will be providing students with more exposure to career opportunities as well, career programs and field trips to learn more about what they want to do in the future. When students are falling off course academically, administration is meeting personally with students, involving their parents, discussing what obstacles they have, and setting a path forward. This one student at a time approach is working, and we're seeing results. Career coach coordinators. To assist with increasing our graduation rate and helping students plan for their future, we are now hiring 7 career coaches to support all students in grades 6 through 12 to receive career guidance as supported under Maryland's Blueprint. Career coaches will work with students to create individualized career plans, provide resources and opportunities to develop their future plan prior to graduating high school. Reviewing scheduling opportunities and scheduling practices. We are continuing to study the high school schedule to provide our students with the best opportunities for learning. We see that semester-based scheduling is providing time for our school counselors and this coming year our new career coaches to provide classroom lessons and small group sessions to support college goals and student career readiness goals. Advanced students can cover material now at a faster rate through semester-based scheduling, enabling them to finish sequential classes such as Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 within one academic year. So we will be able to advance our advanced learners at a higher level, enabling them to take more courses of interest to them, and that pertains to their future goals. On the other hand, the schedule also allows struggling students to retake courses without falling behind in their grade level. Because of semester-based scheduling, students can take more courses because they can enroll in 8 classes a year instead of 7. Continued professional development focus. Our secondary English language arts and English teachers will now all be trained on strategies to support English language learners. There will also be a continued renewed focus on writing instruction and vocabulary instruction. Also looking at focusing on student attendance. Our attendance team includes the pupil personnel worker, the homeschool liaison, other student service team members to identify and address attendance concerns in accord with our procedures and our policy. Early intervention is the focus enabling this team to engage families before absences become a long-standing pattern. We are seeing data reflect increased attendance percentages in many schools and continue to identify root causes because of the team approach that we are taking. Additional opportunities for student engagement. Fine arts is already a strength and a gem for WCPS. All-county musical, all-county choir, all-county elementary choral programs, the expanse of our orchestra program, VPA, and many of you have seen the talent within the Rock and Roll Revival at JMB. The number of students that are chosen for all shore and all state bands and choir each year. We have increased the budget to support these many programs, and we recognize their value. So we will be continuing to find ways to enhance and grow our fine arts programs. Education-based athletics. We also have outstanding high school athletic programs. We did see a dip during COVID, but we are now seeing an increased participation rate in those programs. We also have one of the strongest unified sports programs in the state. When I started as an assistant principal at Wicomico Middle School, we received $10 a student to provide some form of intramural sports to our middle school students. 20 years later, we are providing $10 a student to middle schools to provide a limited scope of intramural activities. That's about to change. Starting next year, thanks to the generosity of the Wicomico County Education Foundation, represented by its president, Michelle Wright. I know Mike Dunn is here as well. Thank you. And in conjunction with additional funding approved by our Board of Education, we will be starting middle school sports programs in each of our middle schools through the addition of 6 sports programs next year, with school-based competition and competition between schools as well, something that we are very excited about. And in addition, we started e-games, or an electronic gaming team, at one of our middle schools this year, which allows our students the opportunity to compete in approved electronic gaming competitions. So we'll have this in all of our middle schools and our high schools next year. And lastly, since we see the value in these programs, and more importantly, the value in student participation in these programs, in conjunction with our Board of Education, we are waiving all participation fees in all sports, in all band programs, and in all choir programs starting next year. So we are sending a message to our students and our families that these programs make a difference in the lives of our students, in student achievement, and in our schools, and we do not want any barriers to making that happen. Expanding middle school academies. We have a very popular next-gen STEM academy thriving at Salisbury Middle School. Working with our other middle schools this year, we are now looking to establish high-interest programs in other middle schools as well. The areas that we see potential new middle school academies being added in are in the areas of health, finance, entrepreneurship, and computer programming. So look for more of those to come. And the expansion of CTE opportunities. While our current graduation rate of 85% is the highest that we have seen in many years, as I've said, CTE students have a graduation rate of 98%, pointing to the importance of getting our students involved in programs that they are interested in. We have what I believe one of the best CTE programs in the state, and it only makes sense to ensure that we have the capability of expanding this program in the future. So in the absence of a brand new large building or a big wing, new wing existing on the current one, which we're still very open to, by the way, we will be expanding in a different way. Last week I attended the ribbon cutting for a new CTE center at Warwick Community College. And for many years, Warwick has utilized our CTE center at Parkside for adult classes in the evening. And they still will continue to do that. But we now have some newfound space that we intend to fill. So starting next year, we will be offering twilight CTE programs in the evenings to our evening high school students and other interested students, starting something that we hope will continue to grow. We're also currently looking at how we can add biomedical as our next new CTE program in the years to come. Non-traditional learning pathways. Not all students learn in the same way, or are they successful in the same environment. We are challenged with finding other ways for students to meet with success. The expansion of programs at Evening High School and choices we believe are important components to that success in the future. In addition, we are planning for the expansion of our online learning lab and our distance learning classrooms. And lastly, we will be expanding our apprenticeship learning programs with local industry partners. This is an opportunity for a high school student outside of a typical CTE program to still get valuable work experience and learn a trade while graduating high school. Financial literacy. A big thanks to our junior achievement partners and all they do to support Wicomico County Public Schools. In elementary, financial literacy instruction is provided through junior achievement and their volunteers to all students in grades 1 through 4. We have also added literacy instruction, financial literacy instruction to our social studies courses in the elementary grades now, focusing on making wise financial decisions, entrepreneurship, and the acquisition of goods and services. In middle school, we now have financial literacy instruction occurring at all grade levels. Our 8th grade students participate in Junior Achievement Inspire, an event that brings together the business community and the local middle school students to help launch all 8th graders into their future careers. We also have now added a new middle school cost of living service learning project to all students. And in addition, beginning next year, we will be sending all 7th graders to the new Purdue Henson JA Center to participate in a real-world simulation that practices the money management skills that they have been learning in the classroom. And in high school, we currently have 6 courses that teach financial literacy standards, and next year we'll be adding 2 more. One called Money Management, and another that is an algebra course that teaches algebra through finance-based applications. So we are excited about these new opportunities for our students to be financial literate before graduating high school. Dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is the opportunity for high school students to take college courses at local universities and the community college. Through Blueprint, high school students will be offered a much larger selection of dual enrollment courses for high school or elective credit at Salisbury University and Warwick Community College. Dual enrollment is now at no cost to the high school student whatsoever. Students also can earn their associate's degree and high school diploma simultaneously through increased early college programming. We will go from no early college programs this year to 5 programs next year in elementary education, secondary education, health services, pre-engineering, and an Associate of Arts degree in general studies. And in addition, we'll be going from 61 approved dual enrollment courses to now 126 approved dual enrollment courses next year. High-performing workforce. Focus on competitive salaries. WCPS will continue to work through the Blueprint for Maryland's Future to meet the new starting salary standards, while also continuing to work with our administrators and our teachers and support staff to maintain competitive salaries. 5 years ago, our starting salary for teachers was $44,644. Next year, our starting salary will be $54,094. That's a 21% increase in 5 years. We now have the highest teacher starting salary on the Lower Eastern Shore, and we are committed to maintaining that. Expanding recruitment efforts. For the first time, Wicomico County is now utilizing social media to advertise in a series of virtual open house. And these events provide candidates direct access to hiring managers where they could virtually meet one-on-one. And instructional support staff are invited to attend our Leap Into Certification event that provides information regarding pathways to teacher certification and connections with higher ed partners. Our Grow Our Own initiative. WCPS is working in collaboration with local higher ed institutions to provide pathways to certifications for aspiring teachers within the ranks, specifically for our instructional assistants. If you remember the demographics of our instructional assistants before, we are committed to getting more teachers of color into our classrooms. In addition, the Teacher Academy of Maryland CTE program continues to encourage our high school students to consider entering the teaching profession. We have supports for NBC credentialing. This is something that the Blueprint is being able to push us forward with. This certification process is designed to develop and recognize teachers of excellence in a way that generates overall school improvement. WCPS has 20 staff members with National Board certification currently, but during this school year, 66 more classroom teachers began that certification process. We're also going to begin micro-credentialing for support staff. As part of the development of the new career ladder, we are exploring a variety of options for teachers to select a personal path of professional development. In addition, grant monies have been secured to assist and support instructional assistants with gaining their Blueprint mandated credentials. Professional development expansion for improved practice. Wicomico County, through the partnership with Coppin State University and Salisbury University, began utilizing the Pathways to Professions grant, which provides professional development, graduate level coursework, and experiences where teachers receive stackable micro-credentials as well as the opportunity to earn their master's degree. Focusing on staff retention rates. To have the best teachers, we have to retain the best teachers. WCPS is continuing to provide as much support for our new teachers and staff with a robust new teacher mentor program, as well as other human resources support like social workers, school psychologists, and new teacher coaches. And exit interviews are conducted and reviewed annually to look for ways that we can improve the employee experiences. But in the future, we will be conducting stay interviews to learn why people are staying and in what ways we can build upon that foundation to help more stay. Mental health and staff morale. WCPS continues to provide employee assistance through a formal employee assistance program, which includes support for mental health, as well as counseling for family and other personal issues. And in addition, the WCPS Wellness Committee continues to provide programming to meet a variety of staff needs each and every day. Finally, parent and community engagement. We recognize that the strength and success of our school system in so many ways relies on the strength and success of our community partners. To that end, it's crucial that a priority of our school system is centered around growing and developing these family and parent and community partnerships. The redevelopment of the mentoring program. Many years ago, the Wicomico Mentoring Project was established to match students with adult volunteers for extra talking time, academic help, and more. And mentoring was difficult to accommodate during the pandemic, and we lost some from that. But I want the community to know that we are reinvigorating the Wicomico Mentoring Project. And some of our current mentors will actually be celebrated at an event at this evening. And we welcome applicants to serve as mentors, and as the billboards around town say, be a mentor and change lives. And we're hoping that everyone would consider doing that. The importance of faith-based partnerships. Since 2001, Wicomico County Public Schools has been pleased to have the support of Dr. George Whitehead and Salisbury Promise in coordinating faith-based support. Each year, our school and our school system are very fortunate to have faith-based partners that provide encouragement, treats, and manpower to support academics. And our school system has also been fortunate to have very enthusiastic and generous support from Kind SBY and its Adopt a School program. This program was created to provide a boost to staff at a very challenging time in education. So we thank the many businesses, organizations, clubs, and individuals who stepped up to adopt a school through Kind SBY or through a faith-based partnership this year. In parent and family engagement programs, Wicomico is proud to offer Parent University throughout the year. Some of our schools hold Title I family math and reading nights to help parents. One of the teachers who has done an outstanding job of reaching out to parents and guardians is Tara Martens, math intervention teacher at West Salisbury Elementary and our Wicomico County Teacher of the Year for 23-24. And strengthening our parent-teacher associations. Wicomico has strong parent organizations that support many of our schools, and we'll be working to encourage the addition and tradition of each school having an active school PTA as we move forward. Parents and guardians are needed to serve as leaders and mentors and volunteers to support the many activities that we have in our schools. Our students and our schools truly benefit from this parent involvement. So whether that comes from a PTA or booster clubs or athletic or band boosters, athletic teams, it's all valued within our school system, and that's something that we're going to continue to cultivate. Student input and advisories. Whenever I don't know the answer to a question, and those around me don't know the answer to a question, I ask students because they have the answers, but many times they're not asked. So we have to commit to making them a part of the decision-making process in what we do each and every day. The celebration of cultures. Our student body is representative of 43 different languages coming from all countries around the world. Almost 20% of our students speak another language at home. The top 5 languages that we see are English, Spanish, Haitian Creole, Portuguese, and Arabic. Every school has very different demographics and student populations. And we are meeting regularly to discuss meaningful strategies that we can use to support our students and the many backgrounds that they come from. Just some of the activities that we have used to celebrate our diversity this year: we've had assemblies and multicultural programs. We've had character reenactments, talent shows that showcase many different cultures, and parades of nations that celebrate the different areas of the world that our students are coming from. And as our school system continues to grow and become more diverse, we are committed to finding ways to make connections with our students and their families to celebrate that diversity and to strengthen that involvement, because together we are stronger. And lastly, branding our school system. We are focused every day on educating students and supporting our staff. And we don't always have the chance to share enough of the success stories that do happen every single day. I have heard that loud and clear since I've come in as the new superintendent. So we want to make sure the school community and the community as a whole are aware of the amazing things that are happening in our schools. And we want to help everyone understand how important Wicomico schools are to the success of our entire community. So to do this over the next few months, we will be engaging with the community on what it thinks, what you think about our school system. The input that we receive will guide our branding process as we move forward. So the Wicomico County Education Foundation is working with us to fund a branding and marketing initiative for our entire school system. One where, through community input, we will be developing a new logo, new taglines that we can use to promote our school system, and unveiling a new website for the ease and access of all of our stakeholders throughout the county. So stay tuned, more on that. This will certainly be a fresh start for our school system as we take this new path forward. So I just have to take a moment to thank everyone that is on my team, because this truly is a team effort, both before today and certainly after as we move forward. From our board members to our senior leadership members, all of our directors, supervisors, our school principals and administrators, to those that make it happen each and every day in our schools and in our classrooms. Thank you. And a big thanks to all of you and those that are in our community that are supportive of our school system and that what we are doing and working tirelessly to achieve. Your support means a lot, it makes a difference, and it is so appreciated. Thank you all so very much for being here today and supporting what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. Very inspirational. My message to all of you, organizational leaders, nonprofit, faith-based, and business leaders in the room, let's rededicate ourselves moving forward. Given the financial challenges we all face, let's rededicate ourselves to investing our resources and our time and our support in our public school system, because it will, as Mike has already talked about, it will make such a huge difference in the revitalization of our economy as we move forward. And remember, we've got competition to our north and south, and we need to stay ahead of both of our neighbors, north and south. Thank you all for coming today. Hope to see you at another upcoming event. Thank you, Comcast. Thank you, First Shore Federal. And we'll see you next year, same location for our State of the Schools.